What's up, y'all? The NBA season is back, and while teams continue to find their footing, our partners at FANATICS Sportsbook are already running championship plays. Bet with Fanatics and earn up to 10% fan cash on your bets, win or lose. So even if your bet misses, you're still scoring fan cash, which you can use on NBA gear, tickets, and exclusive Fanatics events. And with fair play, if your players go down injured in the first half, your bet stays live. Make the switch and get more ways to win with FANATICS Sportsbook. Winning hits different here.
All right. Welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by FANATICS Sportsbook. It is your boy, Jonathan Macri, here to talk about a game that is going to provide us with a slightly more interesting conversation than it would have maybe 45 or so minutes ago. That would have been certainly an interesting and entertaining conversation. It's just a little bit of a bit different conversation now, after what was a 133-120 victory over the Memphis Grizzlies. Your game recap in short is the Knicks offense was yet again unstoppable. That's going to be the main talking point of tonight's show. And their defense was good enough, I would say, for most of this game. And then they got up by 28 points and they started to relax. And the Memphis Grizzlies had some chances to make this thing interesting. But they are a team that is in a very bad place right now. They ended up with, I'm not sure exactly how many turnovers. It was a lot of turnovers. It was over 20 turnovers. And here we are talking about a game and a win that I don't think, for me at least, was ever really in doubt. Final turnover number for Memphis was 22. But the last quarter or so of basketball, if you want to extend it a little bit further than that, definitely made it a bit of a different tenor. Mostly because the Knicks are now on the first night of a back-to-back. You look at what the minute totals ended up being: Mikal Bridges 37, Jalen Brunson 35, OG Anunoby 35, Josh Hart with 30 off the bench. You hope that this early in the season, though, the extra probably 5 or so minutes that the key players played tonight won't hold them back too much tomorrow night against the Orlando Magic. But again, I think the lead takeaway should probably be the fact that I'm sitting here talking about minutes and back-to-backs, and are they going to be as well rested as they could be tomorrow against the Orlando Magic. That should tell you everything you need to know about just how good this team is playing and just how much they are firing on not some cylinders, but all cylinders. It was not that long ago that this is a team where if you had a guy like OG Anunoby take 10 3-pointers in a game and make one of those 10 threes, you were probably looking at an uphill battle in terms of winning a game, because the Knicks only have so many key players, or at least coming into the season, that was the perception. And when one of them is ice cold from three and puts up a lot of attempts and only makes one of them, well, then probably going to struggle. And yet tonight, that didn't really hurt them at all. Look no further than the fact that OG Anunoby was a plus 24 in this game, despite that 1 for 10 shooting line from deep. He was also awesome inside the arc, for whatever that's worth. But because the Knicks offense is playing so free and with so much poise, and they are able to get seemingly whatever shot they want, whenever they want it. When you have certain guys that, hey, it's not their night from three, it's not a huge deal. And that has to be the lead story from this game. And that has to be the lead story from the first 10 games of this season, in which I was at least preparing for an adjustment to Mike Brown's offense. And yes, I will say, sorry, Zach Lowe, I will say Mike Brown's offense, because it is a very different offense. And watching this offense versus watching the offense that we've seen for the last 5 years, does it have some of the same concepts? Yeah, of course it has some of the same concepts. Is it his offense? Did he invent this offense? Absolutely not. We saw this in Cleveland last year. We've seen concepts of this going back, well before that. Certainly from Mike Brown's time in Golden State, when they did a lot of the stuff that he is now instituting. So it is not his. And it's not like they didn't do any of this. But I'm going to go back to the phrase that I have probably used more in the early going this season than any other, and that is buy-in. They have bought in. And my fear before the season started was that because these guys attained so much success under the previous head coach and doing things the way they used to do things, that if they hit some early bumps in the road, would that challenge the buy-in? Sure enough, after a 2-0 start, the team lost 3 in a row. There was a lot of conversation about this, that, and the other thing. What has the team done since then? Absolutely annihilated everybody that has dared to step foot in their path. Now, we have to, the conversation tonight cannot be too exuberant without at least mentioning the competition that they faced. And the Memphis Grizzlies, a once proud franchise, a once proud organization, once proud team, are not that right now. And despite the fact that they did almost come back and tried kind of sort of to make it an interesting game after being down by 28 points, this is a dead team walking. And this is not Grizzlies postgame, so we're not going to spend too much time on them. But the way they kicked the ball around tonight, the way Ja Morant, how he played really the entire evening, I'm actually curious to see what his plus minus probably actually rebounded because he was on the floor for that run, even though I don't know that he played an instrumental part in it. He ended up only being a minus 16. But like, this was not a great competition. Nor were the Nets, nor were the Wizards. The Bulls were, and the Wolves kind of were, even though Anthony Edwards wasn't really fully Anthony Edwards yet. So have they been tested to a real degree yet as far as these 5 games on this homestand? I would say probably not. The Bulls were the best team, crazy enough, that they faced, and the Bulls defense is not exactly, the 96 Bulls or whatever, 04 Pistons, whatever comp you want to make. Will they be tested? Yeah, they will. Maybe tomorrow night against an Orlando team that has underwhelmed defensively. Shout out to Fred Katz for his stat of the day. They're not fouling as much as they need to. But they're still a good defense, and they'll play other good defenses in due time. But we'll focus on that when the time comes, because when we're talking about the transition and we're talking about getting used to everything, I didn't frankly care who they played. I still had my fears that this was A, going to work with their personnel, and B, again, that there was going to be buy-in. And to say that it is working with their personnel, it is, after 10 games, this offense looks like, how could this personnel possibly have ever played in any other offense? Because this looks so suited for their skills. And yes, I am saying that on a night when the Knicks put up a franchise record, ended up at 55 3-pointers. They've never put up that many 3-pointers in a game before. The previous high was 54, which they had done once before the season, and they did about 2 weeks ago against the Miami Heat. This is going to become a thing. This is not the last time the Knicks will attempt 53s in a game this season. I can promise you that. They are going to, this game might put them atop the league lead in terms of average 3-point attempts per game. They're going to be up there, as they should be. And you look at the 3-point shooting tonight. OG Anunoby had a bad night from 3. He has been one of the, full stop, one of the best 3-point shooters in the league this season, at least on a catch and shoot basis. He had an off night tonight. He's allowed. The rest of the team, Cat 3 of 8, Bridges 3 of 9, kind of a cold night for Bridges, but again, he has been one of the best catch and shoot 3-point shooters in the league this season. Shamet 2 of 4. We're going to get back to Shamet in a bit. Jalen Brunson. We're going to talk about Jalen. 6 of 9. How's that? Yabusele only took 1. He missed it. Clarkson 3 of 5, Hart 1 of 3, McBride 3 of 6. Like, none of those numbers that I just read, I guess outside of Brunson, you can't ever expect, even if he's your MVP candidate, to go a guy to go 6 of 9. But guess what? That's offset by the 1 of 10 from OG and the 3 of 9 from Bridges, and frankly, the 3 of 8 from Cat, who like kind of found the range tonight, but still is looking for it. These were all good shots. Every one of them. Maybe I have 1 or 2 that I'm not thinking of, but pretty much for the most part, these were all good shots. Now, do you want to tell me, well, when the game's getting tight and it's the fourth quarter and the team's making a comeback, do we really need to continue to be hoisting threes? Didn't we just watch Boston do the exact same thing to their detriment in the playoffs last year? And that's why the Knicks were able to come back and win games 1 and 2. Abso-freaking-lutely. It is a valid criticism. And to that criticism, I will say this. I love the fact that they kept shooting threes. And you know why? Because if you would have asked me before the season, in a game like this, where the Knicks got up big and then the other team started making a comeback, what would I have expected the Knicks to do? I would have expected them to revert right back to form and go into their old shell and go through their old offensive habits and ditch this new offense. And you know what? They never did it. Is there a balance to be achieved moving forward about in certain situations, time, place, game score, the whole thing? You might want to make an adjustment to some degree. Absolutely. We're 10 games into this thing. So the fact that maybe they didn't get that balance right. And oh, by the way, all the shots they took in the fourth quarter, and it's not like they shot horribly, but all the shots they took in the fourth quarter were good shots. And they ended the game shooting 40% from 3. I'm not about to nitpick it. So the offense looked great the entire night. They had 35 assists on 47 made field goals. I should probably do. Let's see if I could. How close can I get in my head to what that percentage is? It is at least 70%, because 70% would be 35 out of 50. So it's probably 74, 75, something. No, it's not 75. 74%, something like that. Maybe Andrew or Mark can whip out their calculator on their phone and give it. I'm going to go with 73. That's my final answer. That's a great number. And it is the 5th straight game that they have gotten over 35 assists. And you watch the offense and you're like, oh, of course this team is going to get over 35 or over 30 assists. And by the way, before I get too deep into the post game, I thought it was serendipitous. I don't know if that's the right word. Let's go with appropriate. Appropriate. That's a fitting word. That 5 straight games, over 30 assists. They've only exceeded that number, matched or exceeded that number twice in the history of the franchise. The last time they did it, do you know who was on the roster and who was the leading assist man on the roster? Michael Ray Richardson for the Knicks in the very late 70s. And I just want to offer condolences to his family and just say rest in peace to Michael Ray Richardson, who was obviously a Knick before I was born. But you don't have to look far to know how good of a player Michael Ray Richardson was. He was just look at his basketball reference page, and you'll see the all defenses, and you'll see the all-star appearances, and you will see the steals per game numbers that look fake when you compare them to like the steals that guys get today. I mean, it's a different league in that sense a little bit, but insane steal numbers. And he was part of some really interesting teams that kind of get forgotten about because they never made, I don't even think they made a conference final ever, but he was part of some good teams. And he was arguably the best player on those teams. And so, I almost certain I had him within my top 20 Knicks ever when I did my top 75 a few years ago. But awesome Knick, great Knick, rest in peace. And I thought it was fitting that maybe, one of the, 2 or 3 best passers in franchise history, that was the guy that was leading the charge the last time the Knicks had at least 5 straight games with 30 assists. And now they're doing it again, except they don't really have a Michael Ray Richardson level passer on the team, or certainly not in the rotation. and yet they're still doing it. And that is going to be a good transition to me talking about a guy who at this point, I guess I just have to say, it's my favorite Knick in franchise history. I got the him T-shirt on tonight. I had to put it on after that performance. A 32 points on 19 field goal attempts, 10 assists, 5 rebounds. Not team high. OG was team high, plus 24. Second best on the team, plus 20. Jalen Brunson. 6 turnovers, uncharacteristic. Some of those I actually do attribute to him still getting adjusted to an extent to this offense. But, yeah, okay. Not ideal, but other than that, and I mentioned the 6 of 9 from 3. And look, this is one of those games where you needed Jalen Brunson to get up big in the first place, and then you needed Jalen Brunson to carry you home. And getting back to the point that I was making a minute ago, which was they never reverted back into their old shell. Yeah, Brunson got the ball and maybe manufactured a bucket or two down the stretch there, but there was a moment when it was 119-103, so it was getting a little close. And then JB, and they even said it on the broadcast, that JB dribbling the ball at the top of the key. I think Novak was like, yeah, a little bit more dribbling than we've been seeing. Dribble. And what do you expect? You expect Brunson to go into a move and take the shot, the whole thing. And what does he do? Rifles a pass to Landry Shamet in the quarter. Pump fake, go, foul, new possession. How does that next possession end? Of course, on a Jalen Brunson 3-pointer. So I thought that was such a perfect possession to kind of sum up. Again, I've used this phrasing before, the old and the new of this offense. I just mentioned Shamet. I might as well stick with him for a second. Only played 20 minutes. Mitchell Robinson sat out. And actually, I'm going to distract myself again because I should know, no Mitchell Robinson in this game. And the beauty of this Knicks team, and I'm going to steal this from Benji when he joined me on the opening monologue, whatever it was, a week or so ago, when I was like, which style is the Knicks' best style, right? Which look, with Mitch at the 5 or Cat at the 5, and Benji without hesitation said both. And why do I think of that right now? I think of that right now because in this game, in a game like this, you know who you could have used in the fourth quarter there to maybe put their foot down and end any notions of a Grizzlies comeback with defense and offensive rebounding? Mitchell Robinson. And the beauty of it is that when he's healthy, you have access to both lineups. You have access to this ungodly 5-out look that is putting up 130 points like it's nothing. They just set a franchise record, 3 straight games, 130 or more points. And you have access to a lineup where you could throw out Mitchell Robinson, who is a all-defense caliber player, and OG Anunoby, who is an all-defense caliber player, and Mikal Bridges, who is playing like an all-defense caliber player. 4 steals for Mikal Bridges tonight. Not bad. And you could give all these different looks, and it's this beautiful thing, and you could win in these different ways, and you need to win in different ways in the NBA because your opponent is going to be different, not even from game to game, but within games. And so they didn't have that tonight. Part of the reason why I think the game got close, but it is what it is. Landry Shamet, great job. I love the fact that I know there's been some discussion. Shamet ahead of Deuce in the rotation. Look, Deuce has been good this season. Plus minus is very good. I think Shamet just like Mike Brown looks at it and he's like, you know what? I kind of like get Deuce off the bench, keeping him in that role. And then when I need a spot start, I like Shamet in there. And guess what? I like him too. Dude hits shots, plays his butt off on defense. Is he undersized? Yeah. Is he a perfect player? No. But I thought he played wonderfully, especially out of the gate with the starting 5. So I thought that was a nice adjustment. And then Jordan Clarkson, congratulations, 10th most points off the bench in NBA history. Knicks PR tweeted that earlier today. I thought Clarkson gave them some good minutes. Shout out to 2 other guys. Gershon Yabusele been getting crapped on a lot in Knicks land. He contributed tonight. I know he only scored 2 points. He only made 1 field goal. He was a plus 13. And hey, without Mitchell Robinson, you needed the non-cat minutes to not fall and land flat on their face. and they didn't. And it was because of Gershon. Again, was he perfect? No, but he was good enough. And again, plus 13 to 15 minutes. I don't think that was a complete misnomer. He'll continue to get better. And then Josh Hart, before I get to the last guy I want to mention, just some exceptional passes. Not all assists are created equal. You have a guy sometimes who might get an 8 or a 6 or an 8 assist game, and you go back and watch, and it's like, yeah, there was maybe 1, maybe 2 real dimes in there. Josh Hart, at least half of those assists were dimes, capital D dimes. He is, to talk about a guy who is making a smooth transition into this offense. Oh my Lord, is Josh Hart an absolute? I mean, hand in glove fit. He's taken enough threes. He's hitting enough threes, and everything else is exactly where you want it to be. And then the last guy that I want to mention before I move on to the Super Chats is Karl-Anthony Towns. If not for Brunson having the game that Brunson had, I think Karl-Anthony Towns would have been my player of the game. Because from a process standpoint, and again, shout out to the most recent episode of the Zach Lowe Pod, where he had Fred Katz on, because I think it was, I forget which one of them mentioned it. I think it was Zach. If it was you, Fred, I apologize. I'm going to give Zach credit. But one of them mentioned that a play where Karl-Anthony Towns displayed patience, where he wasn't in a rush and somebody set a screen. I think it was Zach. And he took a couple steps behind the arc and just calmly drained a 3, because that was what was there for him. And I thought of that actually twice tonight. I thought of that in the first quarter when Landry Shamet did the exact same thing. He juked the guy, and then instead of taking the mid-ranger, just stepped behind the arc and made a corner 3. And then I thought of it again in early in the fourth quarter when Karl-Anthony Towns had the ball in the pinch post, and he's kind of whirling it around, and you could tell he's trying to decide am I driving? I forget who he had on him, but it was someone he could have driven on. He's like, should I put it up? He's like looking around, and then he just waited. And he waited until someone cut around to 5 feet behind him, behind the 3-point arc. And Karl-Anthony Towns just turned around and he threw the ball to whoever it was and set a back screen. And I apologize. I forget who it was. Oh, it was an OG. It was OG. It was the 1-3 he made. It was the 1-3 OG ever made all night. And it was the simplest little play, but it was Karl-Anthony Towns displaying patience. And it was just such a beautiful thing to see. He's playing out of his mind well. 21 and 13, 4 offensive boards. He had 4 assists. How about this line? 4 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. And those were legit defensive plays. And they needed them tonight. Again, as Memphis was kind of making their run. So, look, was the game closer than it should have been? Absolutely. Are there nits to pick? Absolutely. I was off. Mark's telling me 74.4 assist percentage. I guess 73. I thought it was, yeah. I knew it wasn't 75, but it's just under 75. It's close to 75. So I was off by a percentage point. I'm not going to kill myself for that. But this is great stuff. This is great stuff where their offense is right now. And as a team, I think they're feeling good about themselves. They're going to wake up tomorrow with the number 1 offense in basketball. They were already the number 1 offensive basketball if you go to cleaning the glass, which filters out garbage time. I mean, all the numbers you want to see, they're all where you want them to be, other than the defense. And again, I'm willing to give them something of a pass. And in this game in particular, I should have just said this at the top. I think they got bored. Like you go up by 28 points against a team that was putting that forth, that kind of an effort. I think they got bored. It's not doesn't mean they could do it, again and live to get away with it, because it's not going to work against a lot of teams. But tonight, I think that's what happened, and it didn't end up mattering. Let's hope it doesn't matter tomorrow. Let's hope energy isn't a problem either out of the gate. They seem to be getting inspired by the home crowd. They remain perfect at home, 7-0. That's really cool. And what would be cooler than a perfect 7-game homestand, which I don't know if they've ever had a perfect 7-game homestand, but maybe they will this time around. All right. I think that is it for me. I don't think I forgot anything big that I wanted to cover. Yeah, I think I pretty much got to it all. Like, there was just a lot of stuff to like tonight. A lot of stuff to like. Okay, let us check in, courtesy of our friends at Fanatics Sportsbook, on tonight's betting and sweating picks, our official betting and sweating picks, which I believe this is the third time in a row that we have gone 2 for 3 and just missed the damn parlay. So I get a big check mark because I had Karl-Anthony Towns over 11.5 rebounds. That hit. Jeff gets a check mark because he had Jordan Clarkson over 10 points. Easy money. Unfortunately, and I'm not going to blame Andrew for this. Andrew took the Grizzlies under 111.5 points, which ended up really not being close. They scored 120. But, like, you watching this game and you're like, come on, man. This is going to be easy money. And then the more you watch, you're like, oh, no, it's not going to be easy money after all. That would have been plus 545. Still a good night. We keep going 2 for 3. Keep tailing our picks. And I think it's going to work out pretty well for you based on the run we've been on. It's easy to take Nick overs right now, frankly. Maybe you don't want to take too many unders on the other team because, again, the defense is not quite there yet, but that's okay. All right. Those are our official betting and sweating picks for tonight. Shout out to Fanatics Sportsbook. All righty. Yeah, I have a feeling Andrew's going to be guest starring on this episode. I got to go do an SNY spot for Honda Sports Night a little bit later, but let's see how many super chats I could get through. In the meantime, starting with who teased us off tonight. I saw we had a number of them from before the game ended. Let's see what we. Oh, sorry. Last thing. Sorry, Portraits. I see your super chat. I actually don't think I said rest in peace to Lenny Wilkins the other night after he passed, and I did. I literally just clicked in my mind because I'm watching one of my TVs and there's Lenny Wilkins up there. So rest in peace to Lenny Wilkins and condolences to his family as well. Okay, let's do it. And happy Veterans Day. Thank you, Mark. To all the veterans out there, happy veterans. I've veterans all in my family, so you would have thought that I would have remembered that one. Okay, let's go. Here we go. Portraits. What's going on, Portraits? This offense flows so well, so much fun to watch. No notes. Yes, 100%. Absolutely. It is the most fun offense that I have ever watched as a Knicks fan, and I think it is not going to be too long before we kind of do start to need to have some conversations about whether this is the greatest Knicks offense in the history of the franchise. Not there yet, but that's where we're headed. Next up, Chris V. What's going on, Chris V? I doubt Mikal Bridges would be doing this well if we never had those Mikal Bridges. I think he's referencing Mikal Bridges. If we never had those Tibbs years, a lot of undeserved hate for the work Tibbs did. Thoughts, Chris? If you were hoping for a 10-minute sidetrack where I gas up Tibbs, I'm sorry, you're not going to get it. Look, the thought that people, and I've seen it. Don't worry, I've seen it. Mike Brown. That makes more sense. Mark is you being the brain that I don't have. I doubt Mike Brown would be doing this well if we never had those Tibbs years. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Look, there are people who are gonna say that Tibbs was holding them back and he was at fault for a lot of what ailed them over the years. And that's fine. If someone is actually gonna put that opinion out there, not only do I not value that opinion and will I disregard that opinion, but it's actually going to probably make me question any opinions that they have about basketball or life, frankly. Did Tibbs need to go? Yes. I said it the day he was fired. I got on here on an emergency live stream, and I'm like, people are waiting for me to be upset or anything like that. Like, you got to keep waiting. It was probably time for a change. And there were basketball reasons why it was time for a change, and there were off-court reasons why it was time for a change. And you watch the results, and there's zero question. Did Tibbs do things wrong? Absolutely. Every coach does things wrong. No coach is perfect. But putting aside the fact that he laid the foundation for what you now see before you, there was just a lot of cultural and habit forming stuff and lots of little things that we will never know about that are instrumental and will remain instrumental for any success, for creating any success that this team has and will have moving forward. And to disparage that or to disregard that is a product of someone who, frankly, just has a set opinion, and that is the opinion that they're going to go with, and they're just not going to be talked out of it. But it's like, it's okay to acknowledge when someone that you didn't like and someone that you fundamentally disagreed with on a, like, again, on a fundamental level, it's okay to acknowledge that they did things right, you know? And I hope people, you know, do that, because there's just no reason not to. So there you go. Thanks, Chris. Colin Reardon. Was that 10 minutes? No, it was like 3 minutes. Colin Reardon. Cal hustled to prevent the alley-oop. Actions over words. He's everything they thought they traded for a year ago. He is so much skill on the offensive end, and he's covering up a lot on the defensive end. He's making all the hustle plays. He's kind of like, on the court, you would be mistaken for like thinking he's the leader of the team in a lot of ways, with the hustle plays and everything he's doing. Obviously, when he called out the guys when they didn't get back in transition several days ago, it was, you know, it was great to see. It was great to see. So I love it. Thanks, Colin. 3. What's going on, 3? John, they say don't get too low or too high during the season. It's really hard not to get too high right now. Maybe that's the Knicks fan PTSD. How do you feel? I feel really good. The process is being executed to a T. They're bought into the process. Early results always help, because you could talk all you want about, like, it's, you know, sometimes the shots go in and sometimes they don't. These early wins are going a long way towards, you know, solidifying things and stabilizing things and all that sort of stuff. Am I planning, you know, a parade down the Canyon of Heroes, you know, tomorrow? No. There's some really talented teams in the league, and they, again, have not done this against a great defense yet. That said, like I said recently, there's not a lot of great defenses in the league. So, but I feel really good. Look, they're going to be challenged, as Mike Brown said after the last game. There's going to be another 3-game losing streak, probably, almost certainly, somewhere along the way. But yeah, it's. I think it's like, what is there to complain about? The 3-point defense hasn't been good. No, it hasn't, and they're, you know, over helping, and they're still getting used to that. And again, they're frankly lackadaisical at times. That's just going to happen. You know, that's just going to happen. If that's the worst thing that I'm sitting here complaining about for a defense that came into this game ranked 9th in the league, what are we doing here? You know, so it's really good, but you got to keep it up, and you got to keep the process going. Thanks, 3. Nicole and Dean Julia. What's going on, guys? 3-point volume is a cheat code. Thank you, Mike Brown offense. I will say again, it is not just that they are shooting threes. It is that they are creating threes. DJ Zulu always makes that distinction, and I think it's a great one, because any team can put up a bunch of threes. You know, you watch Boston. Boston's putting up a shit ton of threes this year. Are they creating good looks? These Knicks are creating good looks because they are moving with the ball, and they are being unselfish, and they are making quick decisions, and they are good quick decisions. So that's where the 3-point volume comes from. Yeah, I love it. So fantastic stuff. Thank you, Nicole and Dean Julia. Drew P. McCall's a perfect role player. Also, OGs on offs. Yeah, no, OG entered the game. These stats are not going to be updated yet. OG entered the game as their best on-off guy by a significant degree. Actually, sorry, the best qualifying on-off guy. Mitchell Robinson, once he qualifies, is going to have a frankly obscene on-off. But we're not there yet. He hasn't played enough minutes. When he gets there, he's going to be the team leader. But as of right now, it's OG Anunoby. Mikal's perfect role player. He's at the stage where you have to question, is he actually a role player? Is he doing so much that is he moving into that kind of Draymond Green zone? Draymond's always the guy that I go to because when he was at his peak, and obviously I hate Draymond Green. I think he's an asshole, but that guy made being a role player such an art form and did it so well and was such a good defender for so long that it was like, no, he's actually a star. And I don't know that Bridges is quite there yet. If he's not, he's the best role player in the league. Him or OG, and OG's another guy who is inspiring that sort of conversation. Is he still a role player or is he a star? So the fact that the Knicks have two unquestionable stars and two guys who maybe are stars, I don't know. Pretty cool, good place to be. Thanks, Drew. I am going to now take a quick minute to do our stat of the game. Again, I did the stat of the game for the first time the other night. And shout out to one of our new KFS interns, Jonah Kaufman, who has been doing an awesome job with these. So the stat of the night tonight is something that we already talked about, but with a little extra context, I think it's going to be a little bit more interesting. 4 players. Actually, sorry, this one we didn't talk about. 4 players with at least 8 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 steals. This is only the 4th time a team, I'm pretty sure I got this right for this one, has ever done this in NBA history. So that, oh, wait, no, sorry, I got the order wrong. This was OG, Mikal, Hart, and Cat. So, yeah, that's what this stat applies to. Sorry, the stat that I thought I was reading, and this is a bad job by me that I didn't get this right, was it's only the 4th time a team has ever in NBA history had at least 5 straight games of 30 assists or more and 15 or more 3-pointers. That's the thing that only has been done 4 times in NBA history. It was the Warriors in 21-22 and then Cleveland last season. Sorry, Warriors twice, Cleveland last season. So that is pretty cool. Okay. Next up, once I get my, where are we here? Sorry, getting my bearings together. Okay. Sorry, just catching up on the super chats. Here we go. Lito can't convince me Ja isn't throwing. Dude looks bad. It's not ideal right now with Ja Morant. It's not ideal with Ja. I don't know what this franchise is going to do, but it's pretty clear that they got to do something because it's not great right now. And I don't know where this goes, but I'm happy I don't have to worry about it. Okay. Mr. Fabro, what's going on, Mr. Fabro? Gonna pretend that 4th quarter didn't happen. I think we'd all be wise to pretend that 4th quarter didn't happen. I look, they were up by 28. And it's not even like they went out there and started completely lollygagging around. Memphis hit some shots. It happens. Not the end of the world. Thanks, Mr. Fabro. Hasu. When in doubt, call 11. I mean, is that not the motto of this era of the team? If they win a championship, there's going to be moments of doubt. And you know who they're going to call in moments of doubt? They're going to call number 11 because he always picks up the phone, which is fantastic. Rich McLeod. What's going on, Rich? Shout out to Just Mets. I love that I am now a proud subscriber of the Just Mets podcast. And while I am Well, I have it up here. Let's see. Last episode, Finding the Mets and Ace. Everybody go subscribe and listen. Great Mets content with Rich McLeod and, of course, my boy, Andrew Claudio. Was ready to be irresponsibly excited up about this team after the third quarter. Then the Knicks farted around for most of the fourth, and I went back to being responsibly excited. Seriously, though, absurd offense. No, everybody can get a little irresponsibly excited now. I mean, that's the fun of sports. That's why you watch sports. If you can't get excited for a new coach and an offense that looks wildly different from the offense that we have come to know and maybe love at times and maybe not love at other times, then, like, what are we doing here? You should get irresponsibly excited. Have fun with this. Everybody should be enjoying it. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. So, yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate you. Sam Garcia. Hey, what's going on, Sam? How you doing? Really like how the offense is clicking. A lot of room to grow on the defensive end. Still very pleased with 7-3 through the first 10 games. I don't know if anybody out there was like, 7-3. Yeah, it's fine. No. 7-3, especially after the 2-3 start, where it didn't look like anything was guaranteed. And it was like, man, this team, maybe this adjustment to this offense is going to take a little bit longer than we expected. No, 7-3 is awesome. And in terms of the room to grow, I actually I'm not trying to like pick a fight, but like, obviously they have to get better. Clearly they have to get better, but I think they kind of already know, like, all right, here's what we have to do. And then they know that when the times come, they just need to up the intensity. And that's really it. And like, it's November. Am I going to kill them for not when they're going out there and like literally setting different franchise records for offense every single game for a different thing? They know they can go out there and do this, and they are doing it, and they're getting up big in these games. Am I going to kill them for like not being 100% on the defensive end? I'm going to take it all with a grain of salt. Thanks, Sam. I am AK Legend. What's going on? I am AK Legend. That's a learning experience. Got it. Close games better overall. I'm pretty happy with everyone. Let's go Knicks. Yeah, got to close games better. It is all learning experience. And yet, as you say that, I am AK Legend, my honest answer to you is like, this is such a veteran team. They have been there and done that so many times. Obviously, there's a few that didn't end so well. Game one will forever live in my rent free in my head and my soul until they win a championship, and maybe even after that. But look, this team knows they know how to close games. They know how to do it. Like, yeah, I talked a little bit about the adjustment process with the offense moving forward. And it's going to come. It's going to come. Just give it time. It's going to come. Thanks, IMAK. JDM 1985. I enjoy winning these types of games. Never taking this for granted considering where we have come from. I can't see the emoji you put in there. I wish I could see the emoji because they don't show up on the StreamYard, only in YouTube, which is unfortunate. But yeah, man, like, this is the good stuff. Like, we know what the bad stuff is because we just were there like a week and a half ago. So everybody, take a deep whiff of this one because it's really good. 55 threes attempted. You're shooting 40% from three. You're dishing 35 assists. Your MVP candidate is going out there and putting up 32 and 10 or whatever the hell it is. It's awesome stuff. Everybody's happy. It's all good. Okay, couple more and then all right, Mark's back. Yay, Mark. Walt Clyde Fraser. What's going on, Walt Clyde Fraser? Grizz don't get momentum if Mitch is cleaning up those fourth quarter misses. Should Hupp get mined when Mitch rests? Yes, we talked about. I think Mitch would have changed this game when this team is healthy. I think Mitch changes everything. But that doesn't just go for Mitch. Like every night, you see the importance of it's maybe one day for an upcoming Knicks Film School newsletter, or maybe even on a podcast. I don't know. We'll maybe try to rank the most indispensable Knicks, because I actually did something similar to this in a newsletter not too long ago. But like Jalen Brunson is, I would think he's number one, but like OG is in that conversation. Mitch is in that conversation. Mikal Bridges, we keep just, this version of Mikal Bridges is absolutely in that conversation. Karl-Anthony Towns, absolutely in that conversation. And like, don't look now, Josh Hart is getting himself back into that conversation. Not as number one, or even probably number two, but like top three, So it's all the guys. They really do, in order to win on the level that they want to win, they need all these guys. So, that should be duly noted. Should Huck get some minutes when Mitch rests? I'm going to go ahead and trust Mike Brown on that one and say, and I'm going to trust Mike Brown, and I'm going to trust what my eyes told me when I saw Ariel Huckporty play basketball this season, which is that I would rather give those minutes at this point to Yabusele, who is a guy that they invested in a significant way. And again, I know $5 million a year doesn't seem like a lot of money. That, like, for them to choose him, to use their mid-level exception on him, that's an investment. I would rather send him out there and for the long, like in the furtherance of the long haul, because again, talking about guys they need Yabusele. So I want to see him out there, and I'm happy about that. All right, let's do. You know what? I'm going to go out on a high note here before I pass the baton over to Andrew, because you know what? I'm thirsty and I'm hungry because I didn't eat dinner. I had an early lunch, and my older daughter wanted White Castle. So being a great dad that I am, I gave in. And then I took my kids to the movies, and we saw Predator Badlands, which fucking rocked. Absolutely outstanding film, piece of cinematic masterpiece. My 9-year-old said it was weird, but she liked it. But she was like, there were no people in this movie. I'm like, there were actors and actresses playing robots. Those are people, So it was kind of like there were people. Like, no, there were no people. And then my 4.5-year-old fell asleep after about an hour. But she enjoyed what she saw. In any case, so I had popcorn at the movies, and that's the last thing I've eaten. And I'm sitting here, and I have to go over to SNY, and I don't want to pass out on camera, which is why I need to grab. Let me go over to the old fridge here. There it is. Hold on. A Yule, which I have here is the Black Edition ready to drink. I also have some of the Daily Greens ready to drink cans in that same fridge. I had one of those yesterday. It is exactly what I need for a busy day, exactly like today, where I have to do a post game and a TV appearance and a newsletter and all of that stuff. And I am too irresponsible to feed myself properly, but that's okay because Yule has my back right here. I just grabbed the iced coffee flavor, and in the Black Edition ready to drink, it's really everything you want. It has all the protein. It has the vitamins and minerals, 27 if you want to put a number on it. It's under $5 per meal, no added sugar. And then if you want the Daily Greens, that's only 25 calories. So you really don't have to feel bad about that. It is absolutely delicious, but you would not think of something called Daily Greens. It's phenomenal. And here's the best part. If you are a new customer and you're a listener of Knicks Film School, you could use our exclusive code KFS when you go to www.huel, that is HUEL.com/KFS, and you're going to get 15% off your purchase. Again, that's for new customers. Also just launched in Target stores nationwide. And there's a post-checkout survey. Fill out, support the show. Again, that code KFS. Yule makes healthy eating simple. That's good. Okay. On that note, is Andrew Claudio downing a Yule? I see him in the background. You're damn right he is.
Not bad. Gotta say, not bad, Mr. Macri. Shout out to our friends at Huel, not with a Y, an H. Huel.
You could take the kid out of Staten Island. You're not going to take the Staten Island accent out of the kid.
Well, I appreciate our friends at Huel for their sponsorships. Like, why were the H's? Like SYIPS. I hope you enjoy your appearance on SNY, Mr. Macri. I hope it makes you yappy.
This is going to be a thing now, isn't it?
It is. It's been a thing in dark places that you don't speak about. But
I mean, I just go back to the Tyler Hero.
Oh no, the worst one. What's the Heat coach?
Spolstra.
You got it. After years of Spolestra. Which isn't even phonetically correct, but after years of that, we got to Spolstra.
Who's the guy the Wolves took with the Knicks pick or the Pistons pick?
Oh, that's Johan Berenger.
Joan Berenger.
Joan Berenger. That you just gave up completely. It's like, no, you're in America, damn it.
All right, I gotta go. Shirt on. Everybody, I should be back in about 15-20 minutes. In the meantime, you are in fantastic hands. Thank you, Mr. Claudio.
Yes, sir. Hello, everybody, and welcome to, I guess, recess here at Knicks Film School. I'm here to take over for a little bit and talk about a thrilling Knicks victory. All of them are thrilling these days, for sure. They've won 5 in a row. They are undefeated at Madison Square Garden, and the vibes continue to get better and better. Let's get to your super chats. Let's continue with your super chats. Mark, my hands are around this right now, so I'll let you run the show there. JDM 1985. JDM. I'm assuming this is James Dolan's mom and something from 1985. Good year. Good movie year. My goodness. Rocky IV. Okay. James Dolan's mom says, Mikal 3-point jumper is fixed. Almost automatic now. Shooting over 50% from three from the field. From three this season. And it's part of the formula is that if you're actually getting him to hit those threes, he's really been good above the break, really good in the corners. You add OG on the other side, that's gonna be part of the formula, is that those guys taking 6 to 7 threes a game. I don't think they're gonna hit at the same clip that they've been hitting so far to start the season. I'm sure there is a regression coming that's closer to 37-38%. Maybe he gets to 40. That'd be a welcome a surprise to this season. But yeah, Mikal Bridges hitting his threes and just playing like he gives a damn. And maybe it's much easier to play like you give a damn when you're much more involved and asked to be more than just a spacer around Jalen Brunson. But yeah, Mikal Bridges, I have no questions about whether the shot's going to go in anytime he shoots it now, which last year there were questions. A lot of oh no, yes, when he would make shots. So good stuff. Thank you, James Dolan's mom, 1985. Sergio Acosta, long time no see. Good to see you. Landry, Lil Dicky Shamit. That is a great call. Why did I never think of that? Yes, Landry Shamit looks like Lil Dicky. If you don't know who Lil Dicky is, go to YouTube. Very famous YouTuber. Eventually changed his name to Dave. Well, I guess started going by his government name, Dave, for a television show on FX. Not a terrible rapper. Go watch his I forget which Sway calls the where you have to freestyle for like 5 minutes, but he absolutely crushed his stretch where he went on Sway in the morning. Yeah, shout out to, I don't know why I just got off on a rant to Lil Dicky, but you brought it up, Sergio Acosta. Landry, Lil Dicky Shamit. Let's keep it rolling. Let's go Knicks. Thank you, Sergio. Mark, I just saw your comment. 1985, also Mark's birth year. I'm sorry, you put it in the chat. I have to now say it out loud. We knew this. We all celebrated your 40th last year at T Squared. So, Jessica, I love this team. This is Jessica Elsner. For those who don't know why I yelled out the name Jessica. I love this team. Officially way more fun than the January Knicks. Ooh. Not fully there with you, Jessica, but this is a lot of fun. I'll tell you that much. And if it sustains over like a 14-2 stretch, then yes, it will absolutely be more fun than the January Knicks. But they're off to a great start. Great team wins. Coaches killing it. it can only improve. Hashtag 54 wins, LFGK. Yeah, the improved part is the part that stood out to me. Obviously, if you're watching the Knicks Film School pregame pod, I've officially started. I usually wait like 8 or 9 games before I actually go to the stats and pull up where you rank in different categories, different advanced numbers, offense, defense, pace, 3-point percentage, 3-point attempts. Now that I've gotten there and I've started doing that before every pregame pod, you notice some individual stats, and it's like Jalen Brunson was shooting 32% from 3 coming into this game. Cat's effective field goal percentage was under 50. Like he was in like year 1 through 3 RJ Barrett territory to start the year. We haven't had really efficient or 3-point shooting efficient stretches yet from our 2 best players, and they're rolling. Like there's so much room for improvement, and that's the scary part. That they're the number 1 offense in the East, at least in the NBA, one of the best net ratings in the sport, and there's room for improvement. Like there are stretches that they can still get better. I thought tonight would have been closer to a 30-point win if they had a Mitchell Robinson to be their backup center, which is my excitement about this team come playoff time, where there are no back-to-backs that he has to sit out of. So yeah, I'm excited for the improvement, Jessica, because they're 7-3, and it looks like they still have miles to go before they're in their completed form. Hope you're doing well, Jessica. Good to see you. Wondering Tumnus. I'm just wondering, Tumnus, why your name is Wondering. Oh, is it Wandering? No, that's W-A. I know how to spell. I know how to read, too. Wondering Tumnus with a super chat. Consider this my formal request for a KFS newsletter comparing the potential comp of Mark Jackson greater than Steve Kerr with Tibbs greater than Mark Brown. Oh, Mark Jackson to Steve Kerr with Tibbs to Mike Brown. Just got my hat. Couple things here. First of all, congrats on your hat. Thank you for supporting John's newsletter. Second, this is not a new topic. This is a topic that a lot of people brought up last year, that the Knicks going from Tibbs to anybody else was going to be Mark Jackson to Steve Kerr. I'll say this, the way the offense has looked, the Knicks have had a bit of a Warriors revolution so far through the first 10 games and looked like they're that good. The Knicks were 5th in offense last year. They were 8th the year before. They were 4th the year before that. The Knicks didn't have a bad offense the last 3 seasons. In fact, in the playoffs 2 years ago, they had one of the best offenses in the NBA, but everybody got hurt. It just remains unfair to Tom Thibodeau that you compare him to Steve Kerr. I'm here for the, you're not getting that there's improvement, that you go from a defensive-minded head coach that's not very creative offensively to an offensive-minded head coach that's much more creative and taking advantage of the talent on your team. I just think we could be more creative than a one-time head coach that burned every bridge within his organization and throughout the NBA, so much so that he's not even broadcasting anymore. So ironically, the conversation this offseason went from we need to replace our Mark Jackson, anywhere from we need to replace our Mark Jackson in Tom Thibodeau to we need to replace Tom Thibodeau with Mark Jackson. Like there was people campaigning for Mark Jackson to get the job. Like I'll tell John that he needs to do this. I'm telling you that when I talk about triggering, it's calling Tom Thibodeau, guy who's won over how many games in his career, to a guy that had one NBA stint. It's just not a fair comp to Tibbs. I think the comp is the only comp that makes sense because Mark Jackson won one playoff series his whole career. Tibbs made the conference finals last year and got fired. The only other coach that I know that has done that is Rick Carlisle, who made the conference finals. The Pistons fired him. And then with Larry Brown the next year, they won the championship. That's what the Knicks might end up doing. They went to the finals with a defensive-minded head coach. The Pistons did. Fired that one. Got Larry Brown, who just with the perfect personnel. They also had to go get Rasheed Wallace the following trade deadline. But they upgraded head coaches that way. And by hiring a coach with the last name Brown, it was the thing that put them over the top to get them a championship. That's the comp. We can do better than Steph Curry was an all-star, then became an MVP candidate. We already had an MVP candidate that loved the former coach. It's just one of my pet peeves. It's a lazy comp. But I'm not talking about you wondering Tumnus, because I understand where the comp comes from. I would just like us to be a little more. John, what have you done to me? You've got me defending Tom Thibodeau after a Knicks 5th straight win over a bad basketball team. Thank you, wondering Tumnus. Next up. Jason M, sloppy fourth, but they scored 114 through 3. Impressive. You can have sloppy fourth quarters when you score 114 through 3. It is very appreciated when you have an offense that good. These 40-point quarters, by the way, are so much fun. You know, they've up to 9 already this season. Speaking of Tom Thibodeau, they had 14 all of last season, largely with the same personnel. And yeah, they're already up to 9 40-point quarters through 10 games. Well, I don't know the record. I'm sure that'll come up pretty soon if the Knicks offense continues to play like this into December and January, and we're looking at like the very clear number 1 offense. But yeah, the sloppy fourth quarter, I agree with what the sentiment has been so far. I think the Knicks got bored, and then the Grizzlies kind of snuck up on them. I know this, or I believe this, because I got bored in the fourth quarter. I was on Amazon on my phone. I was wondering if like I could start editing on the pregame pod, which will be available at 6 a.m. for all of you to check out. Me and Jonathan Osborne of the 6 Man Show already recorded and halfway edited until I had to go relieve Mr. Macri so he can go on SNY. But yeah, sloppy fourth quarter, but hopefully a team with thankfully, I should say, a team with the urgency and with Jalen Brunson was able to hold off the charge from Memphis. Thank you, Jason. Silk Sutton. Hi, John. I'm not John, but I can pretend to be John. No, I won't pretend to be John. There's only one John Macri. Hi, Knicks Film School. I'll answer that for you, Silk Sutton. Why Memphis treating Ja like Mitch, taking him out after 5 minutes? No wonder he's mad. So I didn't really get a chance to talk to my pregame show guest yesterday, Molly Morrison, a Bleacher Report, lifelong Memphis fan from Memphis as well. Didn't really get to talk about how effective this Tomasi Salo offense is. These short shifts, these 5-on, it's very hockey. Like we used to talk about Tibbs doing hockey shifts. This is very clearly like because of preservation. And it doesn't matter how good the guys are doing over time. It doesn't matter how good a lineup is working. You have your shift, you come in, you leave. And I don't know how effective that is. Not in the NBA, overseas where the talent pool and the talent curve is much more flattened. I would say that's like a very effective way. In college, I would see that as a very effective way. But when you've got superstars and just guys that are just much better, you gotta want to stick with guys that are good for longer. And for Ja Morant, I know recently he had a game where he didn't play 30 minutes, and it was a close game as well. Now, granted, he went like 3 of 18 in that game, but I look at the minute totals tonight, and I'm seeing Ja Morant at 34. He got to 34, and then you got 3 other guys at 30, and Jalen Wells at 29. He was able to play 10 guys, but I guess tonight, maybe that's why they were able to get back in the game. You played some of your better players more minutes. I have questions about what's going on in Memphis for sure. As Molly said in the pregame, I think Ja only gets traded if he asks for a trade. I've heard, again, not an insider, but I've obviously talked to people that have known things, right? Know things on the inside. I don't think Memphis has any interest in trading Ja Morant. He's still 26 years old, and they have a lot of young players that they've already built around him with Cedric Coward and Jalen Wells and Zach Edey, and like Jaren Jackson Jr. is only 26. So there is, in theory, a good young core for the future. And they just got a bunch of picks for Des Baines. So there is like moves to make if you're the Memphis Grizzlies. All this to say, yeah, he does not look the turnovers tonight were horrific. And that just, it shows a sign of carelessness, which you don't really want from your point guard, let alone your best player. So I hope he didn't really ask a question. That was a comment. I hope I responded to your comment well, Silk Sutton. Thank you for the contribution. BKG Ben Kim Gervey. MSG finally has a challenge. MSG finally a challenge and not a showcase for stars. Yes, absolutely. They are developing a real home court advantage to start the season. Even more of a reason why they should just go ahead and clinch home court throughout the playoffs, because you never know. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals again at MSG. Please go better this time. And I'll just say it. What if it's going to be a tall task, because I don't think OKC is going to lose a lot of games this year. But OKC, game 1 of the finals here instead of OKC. Or maybe I'll just dare to dream, shall I? Game 6 of the finals, and it's at MSG. And all you have to do is win one road game, and your home court advantage is so strong that you won all your home games in the series. Look, dreaming aside, it's nice to see that we're 7 games into the Mets home schedule and they haven't lost yet. It's developing. People shouldn't want to come play here. They shouldn't want to come here and think, I'm going to show out against the Knicks. Now, granted, the Knicks defense hasn't really done anything to stop people from showing out just yet, but it is a welcome sign that the Knicks are the crew that shows out when you come play at MSG. It's like, man, like every game has felt like game 6 against Boston. They're just running teams off the court at the moment with an explosive offense. Good to hear from you, BKG. Thank you for the contribution. Kevin Danishevsky. Hi, Kevin. Mikal Bridges, free safety defense has been awesome. To be honest, there were a bunch of deflections that bounced the wrong way. He could have been more than 22 turnovers. Bounced the wrong way could have been more than 22 turnovers. Yeah, he's just like a completely different player, Kev. Mikal Bridges offensively, Mikal Bridges defensively. I think a lot of the defensive energy that you've seen is that he's gotten to play a lot of minutes with Mitchell Robinson this season. He has a pick and roll defensive partner that isn't as much of a liability as Karl-Anthony Towns, allows him to be more aggressive on getting over screens. And that's the pick and roll. If you're talking about him being a free safety, it's exactly what you want to see when he's playing opposite OG. That's wing stop, right? If you have someone at the point of attack, you could put, Bridges on one side and then OG on the other, and then your defense just gets, a bit more unstoppable. Mark, has the Knicks announced who won the victory, Tim? I don't know if you want to put it in the chat or look up on the Knicks Twitter account. That's usually where they tweet it out, who won the defensive player of the game. I had a theory in the betting and sweating chat that Cat might have won it because he had 3 steals and a block tonight. And I don't know how many opportunities you're going to get to give Karl-Anthony Towns that victory, Tim. So yeah, if you want to take a look if they've announced it or not yet. If they haven't yet, no big deal. But I was curious if the Knicks had announced who won their defensive player of the game for tonight. It looks like I see Mark scrambling in the little window. It looks like they haven't announced it yet. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you as always. Paul McFarland, thank you for the contribution. The ball movement is ridiculous. And we still got Brunson. Okay, I got to read this correctly because he put "and" in all caps. The ball movement is ridiculous. And we still got Brunson in our back pocket when things get tight. Still undefeated at home in November. LFGK. Yeah, it's it's a very welcome sight when things go wrong. And I think it was Hush Sue that said it. You could call number 11 and it saves the day. That analogy that Benji and my buddies over at Hot Ham Theory have used for years, that the Knicks offense for so many years forced Jalen Brunson to operate in a phone booth. Well, he's Superman. So it's kind of expected that a guy with that type of power is able to still survive and still thrive under the most ideal conditions. And look, tonight he got to play in some space too, even if like there were some possessions, and it's really the only criticism I have for Mike Brown, that I know John, maybe when he comes back, we'll talk about this. John's, I guess, okay with Landry Shamet getting more minutes than Deuce McBride. I'm not. still, like, the spacing is what's necessary on the offensive end, and both of them provide that. So, yeah, it's really good to be able to call on Jalen Brunson when things look like they're in trouble. Thank you, Paul McFarland. James Dolan's mom is back. I should be clear for those listening. It's JDM 1985. I've now applied James Dolan's mom 1985. But to be clear, if it is James Dolan's mom, hello, and tell your son to give us lots of money. So many steals in the passing lanes. Hashtag Mikal for Depoy. I want to know if he won the victory, Tim. Mikal for Defensive Player of the Game, let alone the Defensive Player of the Year. Okay. They announced it, Mark. They announced it. DPOG is Mikal Bridges. He finished his story. Oh, congratulations, Mikal. You won it. Jeff, he did it one game after you brought it up. Go follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter, at Knicks Film School, SKOOL. We put out a reel because Jeff compared the Knicks handing out the victory Tim like wrestling, that they hadn't. Like, Mikal could have won it several times, but they kept giving it to someone else, and they were treating Mikal Bridges like WWE treated Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. They didn't wait until a nationally televised game, Jeff. It would have been so perfect if they gave it to Cat tonight, and then Mikal had to, celebrate Cat with, watching Roman Reigns win it, even though he might have deserved the belt. But yes, congratulations to Mikal Bridges, who won the victory, Tim, tonight. This is fun. Also, just a side note, that means Mikal's won it, all 7. So Mitch has won it, Jordan Clarkson has won it, OG has won it, Mikal's won it. Josh Hart has won it, Deuce has won it, and there's one other player that's won it for the 7th. When are they eventually just going to give it to Brunson and Cat? And I don't know what performance is going to be. Like, are they going to have to make it an offensive Tim? A victory, an offensive player of the game, because we don't want to just do repeat winners. So, Mark, it's on Twitter, by the way. The Knicks Twitter account announced it at 11:05 p.m., it looks like. It's their most recent tweet. Shout out Mikal Bridges. Where we were a year ago. Shout out Mikal Bridges. Okay. Next up, Anthony Taylor. Nobody on last year's team would have felt comfortable enough to go 1 for 9 from 3 and keep shooting. The difference is more than X's and O's. It's a mentality change. A little more defense, and we're gold. Cosign everything, Anthony. This it's different this year. They're exploring their ceiling, which is not a thing they got to do. Now, that mentality change means your floor could potentially be lower. I was talking to somebody the other night about, like, the actual difference with Mike Brown and Tibbs. The floor is the floor. You're in every game. You're not supposed to at least get blown out. They're exploring their ceiling right now, which is great. Thank you, Anthony. Mark, as John now comes back, put the victory Tim picture on the screen as well, por favor. Yeah, there he is, Mikal Bridges.
But it looks it's so strange because he's not standing next to the winner.
Right. So they should have photoshopped Mikal Bridges next to Mikal Bridges winning the defensive player of the game.
Or get like a cardboard cutout that is just there permanently.
Mark, you ain't got all of them, or at least you got the second one. So this is them actually celebrating. For those listening on the podcast feed, this is Mikal Bridges' teammates celebrating him winning defensive player of the game. So, okay, I said this while you were gone.
Okay.
So the 7 players that have won it, we're at the point where the next person in line is like Brunson and Cat.
Yeah.
Okay. What has to happen for Brunson to win defensive player of the game?
Big play late in the fourth quarter.
So we've narrowed it down to one play has to happen.
I think like if it's a game deciding play and
they won't even be in a game 4. They'll go offense for defense.
The funny thing about tonight, and it would, but here's the thing. So Kat had an argument tonight because he got, what did he get? 3 steals,
Three steals in a block. I put it in the betting and sweating group chat. Like, this might be a way for the Mikal Bridges Cody Rhodes comp to continue.
And you actually, but here's the thing: if they had given it to Kat, it would have at that point reached a level of absurdity because like Mikal Bridges has been, putting Mitch aside because he just hasn't played enough, he's been their second best defensive player this year, and then now we're 10 games in and he hasn't won one of these freaking things. So that it would have kind of been laughable. Brunson's, but I saw somebody's Dirty Dancer said in the chat, he takes all these charges. Maybe that's a game. Maybe it's a game he takes a ton of charges.
Maybe.
I don't know.
We're now at the point of we're going to start seeing repeat winners, or they're going to start handing out defensive player of the games to Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns.
It has to be graded on a curve because otherwise you give it to OG Anunoby in what, half the games?
I think there are 6 candidates that you could reasonably give it out to every game. Then Jordan Clarkson won it and it was like, oh, okay. And it's why Jeff's comp of like, oh, they're writing this like wrestling. Like Mike Brown is setting it up that Mikal Bridges has to stand next to the winner, knowing that's his title. He's supposed to, that's his belt, you know?
I love it. And I think whether it engenders some good natured ribbing or competition or any of those sorts of things, I think all of it's great. I really do. I think it's so cool.
I enjoy fun. Yes.
I enjoy this kind of fun as well.
Fun after winning, you're saying?
Celebration of athletic achievements. That's the kind of fun that I could support.
But not celebration or entertainment in between athletic achievements, like during a timeout during a sporting event.
I went back and watched the Puff thing because I guess it came up on a Takedown episode, and I think Sean forwarded it to Jeff.
Mm-hmm. Puff the Magic Dragon, the Orlando Magic mascot that jumped off a ladder onto a Knicks box, and it was the greatest achievement in mascot athletic performance of all time.
Whatever.
It didn't even like do a belly flop. It flipped onto a Knicks box. It remains one of the like, oh, that is not how I expected this to go moments of all time. Shout out to Playback.
It destroyed a perfectly good box in the process. Anyway.
Okay. I'm just going to say this on my parting words. This is our YouTube Studio app. For those watching, we are 10 subscribers away.
It's a little blurry, but we can see it.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Can you see it now? It's getting more blurry.
It's getting more blurry. Okay. Well, go look at the bottom of the YouTube channel.
Okay? I can see
Not
it.
you, people watching on YouTube.
Excuse me. Jesus,
go look at the bottom. We are 10 subscribers away from 50K. I doubt I'll still be on. If I am when we're still live, I would just say to you, Jonathan Macri, as you chug your Huel one last time, congratulations, John, on 50,000 subs.
I've said this many times in the past. I'll say it again. The YouTube channel was always your thing. You built it up from nothing. You made it a priority. So congratulations to you. Yeah, it'd be cool if we got there tonight. Hey, listen, if literally right this second, you are someone, and I know we get a lot of these people who watch on Twitter. There we go. We got someone else. If you're watching on Twitter, just hop over to the Knicks Film School YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. Will we actually be able to see who the 50,000 subscriber is?
No.
Oh, we can't see that?
No.
I was gonna say it. Shout him out.
Just shout out to literally everybody that has all 50.
Well, that too.
We'll do a live stream that's you shouting out 50,000 people. How about that? We'll just go through the list of everybody that's ever subscribed.
You know what? If I didn't have kids, I would make the time to do
that. That's very sweet, John. It's also a terrible idea. Don't do that. Like, I was 100% joking. It's okay.
I remember on the Guys We Fucked podcast, they used to, at the top of every episode, they used to shout out the people that donated a certain amount of, I don't know what the cutoff was, but if you donated money to the pod, they shouted you out at the beginning of the show. What? Did you not listen to that podcast? I went to a live show, live recording of it with my wife. She was a big fan of it, but I listened to it before her. very proud of that. I have the book is somewhere around here. I maybe not in my office, but I have the book by Corinne. I think it was Corinne and Christina. The name of the book is appropriately titled Fucked, I believe. Well, I can't hear Mark. Mark's on mute.
I was just trying to cut you off before you said anything. I don't know what the book is called, but the title of the podcast is
I swear.
What?
pretty.
Well, no, you swore.
It's the name of the podcast. It's one of those popular podcasts that's been around for a long time.
Every now and then, you take us, Denzel, on a flight path that I was not prepared for, and like we end up landing, and was only a few casualties, but yeah, that we were inverted there for a minute. I got to be honest, I had no idea where that was going. We don't need to.
That was a quick
being
inversion.
sexually explorative and self-confident in a world that's screwed. My wife said the book was great. I never got around to reading it. Maybe that's going to be that'll be the next book that I read.
Am I still Izzy's favorite Andrew?
You're the only Andrew that she knows.
You don't read the group chat. Your wife said that Izzy came home from school one day.
Yeah, and she said that's not the real Andrew. Yes.
Right. Okay. So I am the real Andrew. Okay. Mark, there was a boy in John's 4-year-old daughter's class that is named Andrew that she doesn't like. And so I got a text that Izzy came home and said, I like the real Andrew, John's friend, or Daddy's friend, John's friend, Daddy's friend. Oh. And that let me know that, you know, I know where my audience is. It's 4-year-olds that don't like people with my name.
I really appreciate that Andrew has now returned the airplane back.
Wholesome family fun. Yes.
The wholesome family fun.
Listen. It's the Knicks Film School Podcast. If you don't know what you're going to get at this point.
Oh, no, they know by now. 50,000 strong. 50, they know.
Yeah. Not yet. Be number 50,000. Come on.
Yes, nine left.
If this is not the kind of content that you can get behind, really, what are we doing here? Andrew, thank you for carrying the show for a bit while I had to do what I had to do.
You got it. Let's go Knicks.
Let's go Knicks. I love it. And thank you, Mark. And thank you, everybody out there, for listening and subscribing and all that jazz. It's pretty wild that I have to this podcast, this post game that I used to do from my laundry room and on I always forget the name of the app, whatever the app was that we used to be connected to Twitter, Periscope. There it is. Now I have to pause it because I have to go on television. Crazy world we live in. I'll tell you that. Okay. Couple more super chats and then we are done. Will Oliver, what's going on, Will? And to think the sky was falling only 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Tell me about it. I mean, I don't think for me the sky was ever falling. I had my concerns, as will shock no one, were pretty centered on Cat and would he buy in? Not even would he like be good in the offense. I thought he would be good. I actually had very little doubt that if he bought in, he'd be good. And I was just a little distressed that I wasn't seeing the buy-in that I wanted. And I wondered what the repercussions of that would be. And I don't think that it's all been him in terms of like why it looks so much better. But he looks, again, I said it at the top of the show, he looks spectacular. He looks absolutely spectacular. And a guy that, like, again, put him in this offense with this ball movement and all the pieces of the chessboard moving around him, and he just has to play within himself and just like, hey, man, make the passes, make the shots when they're available to me, make the drives when they're available to me. It's beautiful. Thanks, Will. Walt Clyde Fraser with another one. What's going on? Happy we live in a universe where the Knicks dropped to the 3rd pick in 2019. Man, I always have these thoughts occasionally. If I could write just an NBA book, just like about like a traditional, like, you know, someone spends 2 years researching something. The 2019 draft and everything that took place, everything that led up to it, and everything that took place since then. Because you know why I think it would make for a great book, because we're sitting here and it's 2000. We're 50 days away, whatever, from 2026. And I still don't think we have definitive answers. Like you could say this, that you're happy we live in a world where the Knicks dropped to third, and that's completely justifiable. And yet the two guys that got picked ahead of RJ Barrett, like you could tell me that either of those guys goes on and still does big things in this league at some point. I don't know that I would bet money on it, but you could tell me that, and I don't think it would be crazy. And then to say nothing of some of the guys that were picked later and all that stuff, I just think it's I don't know. It's fascinating topic. Thanks, Walt. Just Richards, what's going on, Just? Saw you in the chat earlier. Shout out to chatnext.com, everybody in that app. Speaking of big numbers, I think we're creeping up. Maybe not that close. We're getting there to 400 though. Members strong, which is really awesome. Hey John, was at the game. Vibes were immaculate. Never once thought they were going to lose. Yeah, I didn't think they were going to lose. I did wonder, because we've seen this with Memphis before, like them making inexplicable big comebacks. I did wonder if like we were headed for like was this thing gonna? I mean, look, they had if they made a three that was an open three, it could have got that to 7. Did I ever think we were going to lose the basketball game? No, I did not think we were going to lose the basketball game. So yeah, good. Glad you got to enjoy that. Riyadh Raheem, what's going on, Riyadh? The offense has been better than anyone could have hoped for. With that said, is it complex enough to work against Oklahoma City? I look forward to the next Benji and DJ X's and O's, which I think is not going to be this week. It's going to be next week. But because to me, it is as simple as does the ball move? Does the ball and player movement? Can the ball and player movement produce the shots that it does when you have a defense that can essentially switch everything? And obviously, if the Thunder want to switch everything, they can switch everything. Also, against a defense like the Thunder, or work against OKC, they are so physical, and you talk about ball movement and player movement. Well, they make ball and player movement freaking impossible because they get in your grill and you can't move around easily. And you can't just make the passes that the Knicks are making freely because they have arms everywhere. Can it work? Yeah, of course it can work. We saw the Pacers offense work against the Thunder at times in the finals last year. Is our offense at that level? No. Do we have a mastermind the level to the degree of Tyrese Halliburton on the roster? No. But the collective offensive skill of the Knicks that they may not have a passer like Halliburton, but the collective skill and the way that you have to fear all of these guys and honor all of these guys, both as shooters and as guys who could put the ball on the floor and really do something with it. If the offense gets to as good as it can get, and we just heard Mike Brown on the postgame say, and Brunson said the same thing. We still got to get better. We still got to improve. We're not there yet. Then they could score against any team in basketball, or let me rephrase that. They could get good shots against any defense in basketball. So, yeah, it's not about it being complex. I don't think it's the complexity. It's just about quick decisions. It's about quick decisions, making the correct decisions, and being unselfish. That's really it. Really it. Thanks, Riyadh. Kento Cato, what's going on, Kento? Opponents haven't been great, but man, some super solid wins, even without playing their best. A lot to be encouraged about with room left to grow. So happy for Macau. Love the field goal attempt distribution. Yeah, Bridges. I was trying to pull it up. I should have probably updated now. So Bridges this season, he is at 16.6 points a game on 11.4 shots. Listen to Bridges' shooting line this year. Dude is shooting 53.5% from the field. That is best on the team of any player on the team other than Mitchell Robinson, who's a rotation player. And again, Robinson's only played in 4 games, and he's obviously we know where his shots come from. shooting 47.4% from behind the arc. Mikal Bridges is on 5.7 attempts per game. That is so good. He's getting to the line twice a night, which is for him like insane. Shooting 85% on those free throws. Actually missed the free throw tonight, unfortunately. If he didn't miss that free throw tonight, he would be 50, 40, 90, I think, or very close to it. And then you look at over 5 assists, almost 5 rebounds, turning the ball over under 1 turnover per game with all the passing that he is doing. It's just exceptional stuff. It's an exceptional stat line for an exceptional player, and he's probably not going to get in the All-Star conversation because OG Anunoby is going to take all that should a third Nick get in like steam. And that's fine. I don't think Mikal Bridges really cares. But he's been awesome. Thanks, Kento. And yeah, sure, Mark. That works great. Okay, quick break to tell you about our friends. You know what time it is. Shout out to Cornbread. Life's been a little crazy lately. One thing that helps me unwind. If you listened to the show before, you know what it is. It's Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies. I always look for natural ways to reduce my personal stress and discomfort. And CBD, Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies are formulated to work with your body, not against it. Back-to-back night here for the Knicks, always a little stressful because the sleep isn't what you want it to. So I am going to make sure when my head does hit the pillow tonight, I'm going to make sure I get a good night's sleep. And that is something that's Cornbread Hemp CBD gummies really help me with, in large part because they only use the best part of the hemp plant, the flower, for the purest and most potent CBD. You can save 30% off your first order. All you got to do is head to cornbreadhemp.com/KFS and use code KFS at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/KFS and use code KFS at checkout. Shout out to Cornbread. Kevin Danishevsky. Kev always knows right around the hour and a half mark of the podcast to throw a question in that he knows that in different circumstances I could spend a half an hour on. And his question is, would you rather have RJ or Ja right now? And I don't think it's a simple answer. I'm just going to say that. To some, it may be blatantly obvious. To some people, they're like, I would not want Ja Morant anywhere near my basketball team. That's fair. And other people might be like, are you kidding me? This is RJ Barrett we're talking about? And Ja Morant, the guy who finished 7th in MVP not long ago, who has probably just worn out, like he's tired of Memphis. He wants to get out of Memphis. But like the guy that like electrified the league is still in there. That guy. And we're comparing it to RJ Barrett. If you're on that side, I think it's a fair argument. I think it depends on the team. I think it depends on the cap situation. Because, look, it's the same fundamental question that we've been asking about RJ since he came into the league. It is he a good enough player where you can get he has the ball as much as it seems like he needs to have the ball to be successful? Is he a good enough player to justify that usage? / is he good enough off the ball? Can he do enough things off the ball to be able to make that work? And what it seems like he's settling into is this role as like, all right, it's a little bit of column A and it's a little bit of column B. And like, if you put the right top 2 stars around him, can he be the third most important guy or third best guy, whatever phrase you want to use on a team that could actually really do something? I'm not sure what those 2 top stars would look like. I don't think that they are in Toronto right now. Might that world exist? Sure. Until I'm more certain of that answer, my just in a vacuum, no context, anything answer would be Ja Morant. If I was a GM of like, you know, an expansion team, for instance, or random NBA team X, you know, I don't know, the Wizards. Who would I rather have on the Knicks right now? I'd rather have RJ Barrett. I don't know if that was the question at the top. I probably could have saved myself a lot of time and just said RJ Barrett. But yeah, I would rather have RJ Barrett on the Knicks right now, for sure. Thanks, Kev. Benny Bills, what's going on, Benny? Double down on Kevin's chat. RJ, Ja, or Zion. Once a Nick, always a Nick. Okay. If I was, again, going back to the whole, if I was like running an expansion team, or I was, again, the president of the Wizards or the Nets or something, this answer would be Zion. And I wouldn't even have to think about it. I don't have to think about it for very long. I get the injury stuff. It's probably always going to be there. I'm still, probably to my detriment, I still want to see where that one ends up. I'm curious enough. On the Knicks right now, goodness gracious. Here's the thing. If Zion's on the Knicks right now, like, do I even want him starting? What is he going to do? Start next to Cat? So we're going to have Cat, Zion, OG, McCall, Jalen Brunson. Does that even make sense? You know, you're having Zion Williamson coming off the bench. You know, but then again, if RJ's here, like, isn't RJ going to want to start? You know, so I don't know. Maybe I don't know. The truth is that none of these players fit on the Knicks right now. But of the three in a vacuum, I'll take Zion. Thanks, Benny. Good questions. Now, are we adding Darius Garland to that conversation? Probably not. Adam Austin, what's going on, Adam? I can't recall a stretch of games where the Knicks blew opponents out like this. Yeah, it's against okay to bad teams, but we needed game winners against the Heat and Blazers last year. Well, Blazers without Jalen Brunson, for whatever it's worth. Love seeing the vision. Yeah, no, it was a characteristic of this team that was really true of like the entire Thibodeau era. You want to say the entire Jalen Brunson era? That's fine too. Games where you're like, man, this should be a blowout. It seemed like a little bit too often for comfort. They were not blowouts. And there were always questions about why that was. Were guys gassed? You know, I don't know. What just like, was the offense? Here was my thing. My thing was always, was the offense such that, because you would watch other teams achieve blowouts and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense with the type of offense they have and how willingly they put up threes, and you know how like the confidence and the kind of freewheeling nature of it all. Like, yeah, those are the teams that blow out other teams consistently, and it didn't seem like we lived in that place. And it does seem like we live in that place now. So yeah, it's good. It's good. It's a great place to be. Hopefully it stays that way. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate you. Juan Cruz. What's going on, Juan? I like where this is headed. Michael Ray, Ray Williams, Bill Cartwright. Those are the Knicks I watched that made me love the Knicks. Rest in peace, Michael Ray. Let's go Knicks. You're the best, Macri. Thank you, Juan. That's very kind of you. Yes, rest in peace, Michael Ray Richardson. Also, I want to shout out Ray Marcano, my buddy Ray, who has done some great writing lucky enough, for the Knicks Film School newsletter over the years about some of those late 70s, early 80s teams. But yeah, and you know, hold on. I know we're getting close to being done, but I do just want to, like, very, very briefly. So Michael Ray Richardson, here we go. So he was on the Knicks for a start. He first in 78, 79. That was his first season with the Knicks. Kind of low averages, actually, that season. He was kind of unassuming and averaged 6 points and 3 assists and 3 rebounds. Then it really kicked into gear. He became an all-star. He was first team all defense, averaged 15 and 10. led the league in assists, led the league in steals. How many guys have done that? And then the year after that, he was an all-star again and actually got like a little bit of very, 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 very distant MVP love. And then there was one more season, all-star again, and then that's it. He wasn't on the Knicks anymore. But you know, that period of time starting in 78, 79. So that year they were really not good. Willis Reed started the year as head coach. It did not go well. And then Red Holzman actually took back over, and that didn't go much better. But so then they made the first round in 80-81, and they lost. But they were a 50-win team that year. You know, so like it's not like they were bad. It was a 50-win team, and they lost in the first round. That's the only time Michael Ray ever made the playoffs with the Knicks, and it's unfortunate. And because he only made the playoffs once as a Knick, and because they lost in the first round, they lost to the Bulls actually, and what was back best of three, and they lost both games, close games for whatever it's worth. But like, yeah, you know, it's unfortunate, and it's unfortunate that he doesn't get thought about in the same way that a lot of like other Knick greats get thought about. But you know, is what it is, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm looking at this roster now. Campy Russell, Sly Williams, the other Williams, Marvin Webster, you know, Larry Demick, Mike Woodson. How about that? Mike Woodson was on that team. Crazy stuff. Okay. Thanks, Juan. Bill Peter, friend, what's going on? Bill, how are you? Hate to look ahead, but how do you see the back-to-back against the Heat? Their offense is also humming. Spo, as usual, is the best coach. I expect two battles. The Heat are... I watched pretty much the entire second half. I was keyed in on it, and in overtime of their game against the Cavs the other night. I think that was probably the most well-played NBA game that I've seen this year, give or take opening night with OKC and Houston. Just an exceptional basketball game between two teams that are playing with a lot of confidence right now. I think the Heat are for real. I think this offense is not just some flash in the pan. They've won 3 in a row. They're 7-4. Like, it just works. And the fact that they haven't even had Bam now, I don't know when they're going to get Bam back. He's out tomorrow, so you know we'll see. But they're missing Bam. They're missing Tyler Hero. It doesn't matter, you know. And they're just the offense. The offense is legit, and you know the defense is going to be. The defense is going to be there. So, you know, what would be cool, Bill, is if they win tomorrow and they could finish off a perfect homestand against the Heat, and the Heat are standing in their way. That would make for a pretty cool Friday night Knicks experience. Thanks, Bill. Robert W. Cross, I'm happy I got this. First time, long time. It's your boy John. As KFS nears 53,000 subscribers. Where are you getting me 3,000 subscribers, Robert? What is their most memorable moment with the community? Hashtag 53 wins. God, you're asking me to pick one. I mean, I could name 20 for you off the top of my head. You know what? There was a moment. There was a post game back in, oh my God, 2 houses ago when I was in Massapequa Park, where people just started, and I feel bad like connecting it to super chats because I always tell people like text me or DM or email. They're like, sorry, I never, I can't watch the post game live. I've never said in a super chat. I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, I don't really care if you support the show. That's all that I care about. Just watch or listen. But on this particular night, it's people just started sending in super chats, and it turned into like a thing, and it was like the Macri diaper fund, because I think I think I just recently announced that we were expecting Isabel at the time, and it was just like a very emotional night, and it was an outpouring of generosity that sticks in my head, and just to me, it would probably be the one that I would say because it shows exactly what you're talking about. It's the community. This is a community. I know there's 50,000 subscribers almost on our YouTube channel, and a bunch of people listen to the podcast all over the world. It's community. It's community as far as I'm concerned. Doesn't matter what happens with me or anybody here. Knicks Film School is like, at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's community. And I just, that was a night that I will always remember because the community really, embraced me, and that was really cool. All right, Robert's got a couple more here. Of course he does. Super sticker. I don't know what the hell a super sticker is. I know what it is, but I can't see it. That's great. Thank you, Robert. And then here's another super sticker from Robert. Robert's giving super stickers left and right. I wish I could see what they are. First time, long time. It's your boy John. It's also Robert. Should I mention that I enjoyed GMAC being on study hall this past weekend? Also, happy Kevin was not on. # 53 wins. GMAC is awesome. I don't know what else there is to say about that.
I was also glad Kevin was not on study hall this weekend, so I co-signed that, Robert.
Why were you happy about that?
I don't know if you've met Kevin Danishevsky, but
I have.
Yeah, just thank you, Kevin, for your contributions to the community. I did not care to get into another debate over something that should not be a debate, which honestly is the thing that Sean and I are arguing about, is maybe the dumbest argument that two people have ever had over anything. But I digress.
It's a high bar.
That's why NBA Takedown exists. We should be a topic on your show at some point. Mark, I'm staring at the app. We're one away. Literally, we're at 4,999 on the app.
Well, that's pretty freaking cool.
It is.
Hey, listen, somebody out there, go subscribe to the next.
Literally one person. Mom, if you're watching, I
think my mom already subscribed. Am I subscribed?
That would be very funny.
Hold on
a second. Are you subscribed to Knicks Film School?
You know what? I probably am.
This would be entirely too perfect if you get to shout out the 50,000th sub and it's you.
Me?
Yes.
Hold on. Maybe Takedown isn't subscribed.
Please let this be true.
I now need this to be our 50,000.
Please.
I actually don't. I mean, I'm assuming I'm subscribed. I don't know. Hold on.
Oh my God.
Oh, here we go. I just Takedown just subscribed. NBA Take. Shout out to my new podcast, NBA Takedown. Is that?
So that's how we hit 50,000 subs.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
There we go. It's just sitting in the app.
Woo! Listen, whatever it takes,
counts.
right?
It counts.
That is amazing. So, John, would you like to shout out our 50,000th sub on YouTube?
Yeah, sure. Everybody go subscribe, listen, rate, review, follow, all that shit. My new general NBA podcast, NBA Takedown, which we actually went live today after the Nico Harrison firing, and me, Sean, and Jeff had a lot of fun talking about that. And we're taking tomorrow off. We'll be back on Friday. I'm taking tomorrow off to celebrate Knicks Film School getting 50,000 YouTube subscribers. So there you go.
The Brad Pitt movie tier episode is it's a great concept. The tiers for the NBA power rankings is very good, by the way, very good.
I enjoyed that.
Amazing.
Yeah. That is, yeah.
Oh, that was just entire. That's the most Knicks Film School thing. That our 50,000 sub was you subscribing to the Knicks Film School YouTube channel.
And now, if every one of the 50,000 people that subscribe to Knicks Film School YouTube could go over and subscribe,
go
to
there.
NBA
Go to NBA Takedown now. Yes, now let's double up. Go to NBA Takedown, please.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yes.
Well, congrats, man. 50K.
Congrats. Do you have any more Yule? You want to toast a Yule?
I actually literally finished, but here, cheers. I think I have a sip left. Yeah.
Cheers. Shout out to Yule. Shout out to everybody. And Kevin, I joke, but shout out to you and leave me alone.
Look, let me.
Real quick, he sent in a super chat and Mark put it up on the screen and we haven't read it yet.
Precious starting for the Kings tonight. This is Kevin Denishevsky. Hashtag once a Nick, always a Nick. I think he started the last game too, and I only know that because I was reading something that a Kings content creator wrote about the team, and it was just so spot on, and brought me back to a lot of bad Knicks years.
Both of us under Scott Perry. So,
man, a lot of conversations about some conversations about like if the Knicks ever win a championship, Tibbs should get celebrated along with that, even though he's no longer the coach. How much celebrating should we do of Scott Perry if the Knicks win a championship?
I don't think any of a rival of a rival GM. How many rival GMs get welcomed to the championship parade?
Well, I don't know about welcome to the championship parade, but like,
so what? I think I've actually had this conversation when I talked to Brendan over the summer about Scott Perry. What would you classify as Scott Perry's most meaningful contribution to the New York Knicks as general manager? I have one answer.
Anything I say is going to come off as like not a kind thing. So Leon Rose kept him aboard for several years when he didn't need to, and he was part of the early, in some way, shape, or form, was part of the early roster building of the team. I don't know what other answer I'm supposed to give. He
traded Marcus Morris for a first-round pick that led to Emmanuel quickly. That eventually led to OG Anunoby.
And I'll give him one more. How about this? His first official move, as Knicks general manager, was trading a player of some renown, Carmelo Anthony. You may have heard of him, and brought back the pick that became Mitchell Robinson. And then he drafted Mitchell Robinson in part, I think, that because he had a relationship with the agent who happened to be Mitchell Robinson's agent for like 8 minutes, and those 8 minutes happened to coincide with the NBA draft that year. So.
Funny how that worked out. Yeah.
Funny how that worked out. But
is this the agent we know?
No, it is not.
Okay.
It is not. Shout out to Mayor. No, I don't. No, this is actually it was a notable agent. It was someone who still is like representing other players. I think I forget who it is though.
Again, shout out to May. His name's Mayar.
Mayar.
Yeah. Shout out to Mayar. Congratulations, John. And congratulations, Knicks Film School, and congratulations to the Knicks. Thank you for letting us go along for the ride with you on this resurgence.
Yeah, here we go. Giddy up. I love it. Thanks, Andrew.
You're welcome.
Adam Austin, another one. Thank you, Adam, for the generosity. Not worried about that fourth, by the way. Stats say teams play better when down big and worse when up big. More likely to have a lead slip a little than keep extending all game. Still won by double digits. You just reminded me, Adam, I have not done what I was a great tradition a few years ago, and I think I want to bring the tradition back. Our nightly update of net rating, offensive rating, and all those sorts of things. And yet, for some reason, the advanced stats page on NBA.com still has not updated. That's annoying. Oh, well. I'd like to actually, I know we're going to be first in offensive rating after this game, but I'd like to see it. Thanks, Adam. That's it. We're good. We done. All right. Listen, I already said thank you to Andrew. So I'll say thank you to Andrew again. He's amazing. Thank you to Mark for producing this episode. Thank you to Kevin, who produces when Mark is not here, and vice versa. And shout out to the entire Knicks Film School team. And it is quite a team now. As I mentioned before, we now have interns. I need to, at some point, I'm going to make some kind of an official announcement because we've got a bunch of talented people now contributing their time and energy just because they want to be a part of this thing, which is absolutely wild. But most of all, thanks to everybody out there. Thanks to all of you for building this thing up where we could have a fun moment like this, again, celebrating 50,000 subs. And we just continue to, I say this on behalf of everybody here, we continue to do what we love and do it out of love. And yes, it has become a profession for some of us, but what has never changed is the fact that the thing that unites all of us, both here at Knicks Film School and everybody out there, which is our undying, often irrational love of this basketball team, who brings us all together. And that is the magic of sports. It is what they could do that nothing else can do. And, just to be a part of that in some way, shape, or form continues to be an absolute honor and a privilege. So, yeah, thanks, everybody. I'm glad we could celebrate that tonight. Glad we could celebrate it on a night that we won. Even better. Let's go make it. What tomorrow night? It'd be 6 in a row, right? I think they would tomorrow be 6 in a row. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, that's it. I don't got anything else. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Peace out. Must be 21 or over. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See Fanatics Sportsbook app.